Good, happy Monday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Monday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Monday evening, so let's begin and let's get started. First up, New Hampshire Fish and Game launches on the Nature Trail podcast. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Well, new on Daybreak, the Fish and Game Department is launching a new podcast on the Nature Trail. Shares a wildlife educator's adventures with hiking, biking, and kayaking throughout the state. The 5-minute episodes will take listeners through different locations while discussing wildlife. To listen, head to the Fish and Game Department's website or search On the Nature Trail in your favorite podcast streaming app.
Okay, there you go. Very cool indeed. You'll need to check out their podcast. New round of rain undermines repairs from flash floods. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
These are your brothers and sisters for the next few days.
Whoa.
You're going on a journey. All you have to do is follow my voice.
Stay here in this life.
We got a seasonal brook that runs down beside the house, and all we could hear was the boulders rolling down the brook.
In Unity, the rivers and streams are roaring, swollen by rains that fell overnight. Roads, already damaged from last week's storm, continued to be undermined as the water created its own path.
We've been here 32 years, and the driveway here, we've never had water under the driveway, and all of the culvert was plugged and the water was running underneath the driveway for the first time.
On Stage Road in Unity, town workers were filling in a huge hole in the road that rendered that road impassable. While this was one of the bigger holes, another concern was the shoulders on the roads around town. State DOT workers on West Unity Road were also filling in a hole. One thing slowing progress, equipment has to be moved from place to place, but the roads that would usually be used are washed out. The road foreman here in Unity says he's dealing with washout after washout, and at this point he's unsure when everything will be back open. In Unity, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Friends and families start fundraiser for man severe injured in bicycle crash. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
A man who crashed his mountain bike in Windham faces a long road to recovery. Friends and family say Jim Harvey severely injured his spinal cord when he crashed on the Clyde Pond bike trails. They say it could take years of physical therapy for him to get back to full health. A fundraising page that has already collected more than $100,000 is going strong.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Fireball caught on camera in New Hampshire skies. Okay, and there you go. Very cool. That would be cool to see in person. Hundreds join the first annual Fallen 7 Ride to Remember. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
In the Lakes region, a big turnout for the first annual Fallen 7 Ride to Remember. Over the weekend, hundreds of motorcyclists gathered in Laconia to honor the 7 riders killed in a 2019 crash in Randolph. The Massachusetts man charged in that crash is scheduled to go on trial in November. All the proceeds from this weekend's ride will go to the families of the victims.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Boston Billiard Club and Casino meets major fundraising milestone. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
How will this lipstick look on me? Ooh, I'll try this on. Perfect.
Try on a bold lip with AR and Surge.
A major milestone to tell you about this morning. This week, the Boston Billiard Club and Casino surpassed $10 million in donations to New Hampshire-based nonprofits. A special event was held to mark the occasion, including appearances and remarks from local nonprofit partners, including the Rotary Club of Nashua, United Way, CASA New Hampshire, Nashua Senior Center, the Front Door Agency, Boys and Girls Club of Manchester was there, and many, many more. It was a great night. 2 checks worth over $1,200 were also presented to the Front Door and Upbeat New Hampshire each day. Since November of 2016, 35% of all gaming proceeds are donated to a New Hampshire registered nonprofit organization.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Very cool indeed. Lawmakers hopeful Senate infrastructure bill passes this week. Let's take a listen to that video from CBS News.
Senators say a long-awaited bill to help rebuild America's infrastructure could pass by the end of this week. Supporters from both parties revealed the details of that compromise plan yesterday in a rare Sunday session after weeks of negotiations and setbacks. Chris Van Cleve is on Capitol Hill. Chris, this bill is 2,700 pages long. What's in it?
Oh, good morning. The fact that we even have text in a way is a bit of a win for bipartisanship, at least the idea of it here in Washington. Lawmakers and their staff spent the weekend working to get the language hammered out. The roughly $1 trillion bipartisan package includes money for roads, bridges, railways, broadband, and water, traditional infrastructure projects, hard infrastructure projects, if you will. Some Republicans have criticized the price tag, but to gain GOP support, there is not an effort here to raise taxes, to pay for, at least raise taxes on the wealthy. The spending is largely paid for by reclaiming past unused COVID aid and unpaid taxes on things like cryptocurrencies. Now, getting the bill to the president's desk could still be a bumpy road. It has to get through the Senate, then it has to go over to the House of Representatives. The Speaker and progressive Democrats are insisting on tying the infrastructure bill to the larger human infrastructure bill. That's that $3.5 trillion reconciliation package you've heard people talking about. That includes money for everything from child care to climate change. There is no Republican support for that larger measure. Anthony?
Chris, meanwhile, a moratorium on evictions expired over the weekend. That's going to put millions of renters in jeopardy. What can you tell us about that?
Sure, the CDC put this in place last September. The Supreme Court in June said in order for it to be extended past this weekend, Congress would have to act. That didn't happen, so it has expired. And now you have the finger pointing on both sides. And in fact, you have progressive Democrats up here on the Hill that are blaming their own party's leadership for this happening. In fact, some camped out on the Capitol steps over the weekend in protest. Now, late last week, President Biden called on Congress to come up with a last-minute solution, but there didn't appear to be the votes to pass it and maybe not the time to get it done. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi pushed back last night, asking the administration to extend the moratorium until October 18th. And this sort of back and forth hot potatoing of who's to blame here is an effort to avoid being the person at fault when it comes to voters coming to the polls here in as soon as about a year for folks up here on the House. Now, Democrats on both sides of Pennsylvania Avenue are calling on states and local governments to push out billions in aid that's already been sent earlier this year to aid renters and landlords. Anthony?
Yeah, all that finger pointing not helping any of those renters in trouble, Chris. Thank you.
Welcome to Icelandic Provisions, home of thick and creamy skin. Full of protein. It's what keeps you full and keeps you going. Because you never know what is going to come at you. Never. Ever. Ever.
Okay, that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. Thank you for tuning in and watching, and have a great evening, everyone. See you tomorrow for another newscast. Good night and goodbye.